Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate, inspire you, and we're going to educate you today. I'll tell you what, I'm excited with this guest. He's amazing, and he's going to definitely add a lot of value. He's half of the dynamic duo. Him and his brother are amazing, but we got the one and only, the BizBros brothers. What's up, Luis, man? The dynamic duo. You got one half, but I'll tell you what, I know you bring the energy, and I want to give you a round of applause, man. Welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. How you doing, my brother?
Daniel, thank you so much for having me, man. And don't worry, I'm gonna put this out there. You got the best, bro. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Yeah, we have a little competition going on. So, if you want to vote on social media, pick a bro, pick Luis over here. No, much love. I think we should be jealous. He's up there traveling. He's in North Carolina in the mountains, so he's living the good life right now.
Man, well, I'll tell you what, I'm here recording with you, and I tell you what, I love it, man. I love doing shows, and I wish I would have started podcasting a long time ago, but hey, when you're ready for it, right? I wasn't ready for it 2 or 3 years ago, but we're here now, man. But I know who you're amazing, right? I love your energy. I was blessed to be on your show, and introduce yourself. Who are you to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, to our audience, that way they can know who you are, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Luis. I'm originally from Venezuela, living here in the United States for about 10 years now. I'm a father of a little dude named Luca. He's 2 now, and a husband to Caitlin, who's my rock, and she supports everything that I do. I'm so lucky. And, I just play around. We do podcasts. We do content production side of things, and we're working on some cool things on the business side. So that's the fast version. You want the fast version or the long version?
Hey, that's a good version. I'll tell you what, it's a good version. But one thing I love about you is you have this charisma, you have this energy that you bring. Whether I was blessed to meet you in a mastermind, and from there our friendship grew, but you're always smiling. You're always just energetic. How important is it's just really being that ball of energy in business, man? Because it breaks my heart. I'm going to be traveling here in a couple of weeks with my wife. We were in Palm Springs, and it's amazing how many people look mad at the airport. I'm like, don't stand no house, man. I'm like, come on. I'm like, hey, wake up. Come on. Give me a smile. And hombre. And yeah, it's like everywhere you look, people are mad. How important is it to bring the energy that you bring, and the smile and the charisma to business, Luis?
Such a good question. And I mean, to me, it's so important. Like, it's probably one of the top, 3 things that I probably can bring to the table. Because, growing up, we grew up in a third world country, right? Opportunities are very limited. We were very lucky that we had a family that supported our dreams. Our dreams were to play soccer. Hence, like, I've almost always wearing a soccer jersey, right? My wife gave up on my attire a long time ago, but we're big soccer fans, right? And that was a dream. And I remember, like, from very little, I was like, I gotta remain positive. I gotta make sure that I visualize where I want to go. I want to make sure that I create my own future, right? And to be able to do that, we have to be in this energy frequency, right? So at the end of the day, my parents also installed in me, you gotta be a positive influence. You never know what other people are living in their daily lives. If you can be that one little bit of light that they see. And to me too, it's how I want other people to feel, right? So, like, I gotta reflect what I do. And every time I'm out here, that's why I enjoy so much creating content. That's why I enjoy so much podcasting, because it forces me to actually go and elevate my energy to be at that point. And there's some days that, hey, I'm not going to lie, they might be very challenging, very hard, right? We've had these conversations before, but the fact that we have to be out here putting 100%, and it's just a tool that is allowing us to create that positive energy. And after every conversation, we're like, okay, we're reignited, bring it on, let's see. So, but yes, 100%.
Boom, right? So right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show where I'm going to tell you, get out your pen, get out your paper, because Luis is going to drop some $1 million wisdom right here. Something magical happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you put pen to paper. You retain more of the information subconsciously. It registers in your subconscious mind. So, Luis, here's a $1 million question. Does you smiling and bringing that energy, does it make you more money? Does it make you more money? Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
So do you recommend it to people who are out there listening and watching this that are being grumpy and
100%. Okay, I have a funny story for you. So before we went into like this entrepreneurial journey, right? Like I worked in fitness studios, right? I managed boutique studios. And one of the things that we had to do was from cold calling all the way to cold like these leads. And you're on the phone, right? Nobody sees your face. But one of the things that I started doing from the very beginning was I had to put a mirror in front of me before I make the call. And it was to see my face. And we listened to recordings of my personal calls and our team. I had a team of 15 people at the time when they were having the call without the mirror. And then after when they had the mirror, and the instruction was when you see your face, make sure that you're smiling and then have that phone call while you're smiling. The tone, the energy is so much welcoming, and people can feel it, not even in camera, but on the phone. Guess what? When we started doing that, our closing percentage, and this is the relatable to the business, our closing percentage went from like 20% to 45% by that single change. So is it important in business? Heck yes, it's important in business.
Come on. You got to smile, ladies and gentlemen. You either smile and dial, like Luis said, or smile and talk to somebody. Smiles are contagious. One thing that I'll say is this, is that people don't realize this, Luis, is that I do this corporate training. And when we talk about body language, I do one about body language, and they're like, well, I go, what does a smile say? And everybody says, oh, well, it says you're approachable. It says this, but I say, what about this? Shift this in your mind. A smile opens up the customer's wallet. A smile opens up the customer's checkbook. A smile brings out that credit card. Let me buy it right now. Do you agree with that, or you disagree with that?
I 100% agree. I mean, and by the way, I'm writing it down right now. I'm like, this
hey, I trademarked that, by the way.
Hashtag golden boulders from you too, my friend.
Woo, but no, yes, but so how did you go from working at a gym and doing this and having a team of 15 people? What was the transition? Content, right? We see that beautiful poster behind you. How did you go from doing that to wanting to be an entrepreneur, right? First of all, this is what happens, right? People are used to trading hours for dollars, and they're over here 9 to 5. And then when you go into sales, they say, well, are you sure you want to do that? Because most people don't see it for themselves. They're used to that guarantee. They've been trained to think like a poor man. They have a poor man, no gender DNA. And when you make that step two, I call it the middle class side of living in sales, because you're crazy enough to bet on yourself a little bit. What made you go from sales to really say, you know what, I'm going to jump all in, and my results are going to speak for who I am. I'm not going to get paid on what the hour says. It's what the results said. And what made you want to be an entrepreneur, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go a little back, right? Where in Venezuela, our true north was always play sports, right? And with that, like the goal was to play professional in Europe. And with that, what comes some money, right? Like some financial freedom, right? And if you make it to first division in soccer, that was part of the goal. So that was ingrained always, that part of the money side. Now, the dream never came true because I was very, very close, but injury, I was 18. I had to go back country, like passport issues. Like there was so that we could do an episode just on that. Right. But then when I had to reinvent myself, I'm like, okay, I accept that I'm not going to be a professional soccer player anymore. Right. What's next? Right. And then my options were, okay, we'll go to college, because in Venezuela, the college I went to was free for me. And it was a great opportunity. But after that, I had really no idea, because all my objectives were directed to playing, right? So I was very lost. And then an opportunity came up to come here to the States on a soccer scholarship to go to school. So that gave me 4 more years of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So doing those 4 years, as an international student, you cannot go and work, or you cannot go and start a company. You cannot go and do this legally, right? Like if you do it, it's very under the table, and you got to figure things out, right? And you know, through that,
and you're not under the table. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I cannot confirm or deny, but here's the thing.
Sorry, that just came out.
I cannot confirm or deny. You can send me a DM if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them through you. But anyways, but here's the deal. Like I took every single job, right? In college, that I was a lot. I was like intramural coach. I was referee. I was ropes course coordinator. I was like rock wall, like everything that I could do outside of an office, which was crazy, right? So I identified that trend, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to be in that corporate environment. I see my friends having a terrible life. I don't want to do that. And there was always a fire inside of me. I want to build something, but I didn't really know what I wanted to build. So as soon as I left college, that I got hired to go do my job, right? I started coaching, right? I started selling soccer memberships. That gave me a lot of time on the other side to develop something. So we started selling vinyl stickers door to door. So we got this machine and we're like creating these stickers, and we thought we were going to be millionaires with these stickers. It happens that you need to, sell a ton of stickers to make some money. And it was 3 of us. So, we quickly transitioned into selling screen printing. So that helped us a ton. And then, the financial education for me personally wasn't there. So, I had to go get a job at some point, but I got a job in an environment that pushed me to develop a skill. So for me, that skill was talking to other people, was selling fitness memberships, right? You have to learn how to sell. And that was my entry point. I'm like, okay, if inside of this environment, of this container, right, of my job that I really, really enjoyed, I loved that job, right? I met so many incredible people in that fitness studio, right? My staff, the members, right? I'm learning this skill that the more I sell, the more I earn. What if I do it now for us, for something that I really feel passionate about, right? Yes. But that feel passionate about is still growing, but we didn't know what it was. It was a fire inside, and we started trying different things, where we started an agency that served those businesses that we were helping at the time, small businesses in Jacksonville, Florida. And then it evolved to the one service that we do now, together with the show Content is Profit. Now, and we're talking just off camera, right? If I could be in front of the camera 5 days a week, 24/7, I'm the happiest guy ever, because it's really what I love to do. So now we're just trying to figure out a way, okay, how can we make this a sustainable, like together with the goals that we want to achieve, monetary goals, that we can talk about that, right? Like not being ashamed of wanting more, not being ashamed of, wanting nice things, right? And so that has been the journey, and it started with that fire. But be like, possibilities are limitless, right? Like we can really achieve whatever we put our minds into, and then we gotta just go execute and figure it out.
Okay, you picked my interest, because I've been speaking. I just had a speaking engagement this past Saturday, and I talked about money. I talked about finances. I talked about wealth. It's amazing how many people don't receive that message. And I love what you said, right? Go out there and have more. Why do you think most small businesses and entrepreneurs and people in general don't want more for themselves, Luis?
I think a lot of people feel guilty. I'm gonna raise my hand and I say that I was in that bucket. I had a pretty powerful episode with a lady one day. She was a member in that studio. This happened 6 years ago now. Yeah, 6 years ago. It's a while back. And she comes in, and I'm like very happy. And at the time I was in charge of the social media and whatever, and I'm recording all these members. And she was a life coach. I found out later, right? And she comes in, she was from another city, and she does her class. And then after the class, she waits for everybody to leave, and she stays there. And I'm the only one in the fitness floor, right? And she comes to me like, hey, why don't you share more about you, right? And I'm like, well, we're promoting the studio, like I don't think, like, and then we get talking, right? And at the end of the session, this was like 30-minute conversation, I tell her, look, like I am honestly really, really happy right now. Like I'm about to get married with like the girl of my dreams. I have a job that I really enjoy. I'm building a business with my brother on this side that we had a blast, right? I live in this house with all my roommates. I have my dog. I never had a dog in the past, so I have my dog. So at the moment, I'm like, this is really enjoyable. And she's like, why don't you share that? And I'm like, well, here's the issue. I come from Venezuela, for a third world country, where a lot of people want to leave the country to live in a very stable, good, at the time, good, prosperous, like nation, right? But a lot of people don't get the chance to do it. And I'm really scared that if I do that, people are going to hate me, right? Because at the time, all my connections, everybody that followed us was from Venezuela, was at that point, like, were people from my country, right? And some of them decided to stay. Some of them didn't even have the chance to leave the country because of the political situation. And she goes like, well, why don't we switch that? And what happens if you actually start sharing these stories, sharing how you feel, sharing like the things that you do every single day, and you inspire them to do more, to do better, right? And that conversation shifted my mindset completely, 100%, to the point that now we're like we're the kings of live. We go live literally. If we have a thought, we go live. With the show is live every single time, right? We share these things, our progress, what we're doing, without the shame of, hey, if I achieve this, is because I worked really hard for this thing, because I really wanted it, right? and
Yes.
and I want to motivate people. I want to inspire people to, if they're in that mind space, they can see that it can be done, and then they can do it for themselves as well.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, listen to what Luis is saying right now. Don't feel guilty. Don't let shame come in because you want more. You want to be more in life. Listen to his heart. He's being honest. Many of us have been there. I felt that way. Today is a day you make a change in your life. Today is a day you stop playing small and you really give yourself permission to dream bigger, to have a bigger vision for your life. 2022 is here. There's so many great things for you to do. And what are you going to do differently than 2021? I challenge you right now to give yourself permission to dream bigger. If you want to get a bigger house, go out there and work hard for it. And if you want to go out there and get a nicer car, guess what? Go get a nicer car. There's nothing wrong with it. Whatever motivates you, whatever inspires you, because like Luis said, by you doing that, and I'm not saying bragging and being like, look at me, but I'm saying from a truthful point of in trying to inspire people, you're gonna really encourage people to want more and be more and do more. Because you can really be and do and have anything you want. The question is, how bad do you want it? And stop, think about what Luis said. He didn't want people to be mad at him back in his home country. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. And Luis can either, I want to get his perspective. Either you can't make everybody happy. The more success you have, what I have found out is there's going to be people that are going to be resentful no matter what. But this is what happens. And you can tell me what you think, Luis, is as you grow, the next level of people are in the same level of thinking as you are. And then instead of being resentful or mad at you, like you said, they support you and they're like, come on, man, keep going, keep going. Give me your perspective on what I just said, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot comes from our internal beliefs, right? And sometimes if we're not ready to go to that next level, is because we haven't worked our own issues yet. So, you know, this world of entrepreneurship is also the craziest personal development roller coaster, right? Like for the past 2 years, where we've had the most traction with our business, you know, we went from a freelancing 2 people to a team of 5, right? It's like, okay, well, now there's other people, depending on what we do, depending on the things of the people that we bring in, like more responsibility, right? So per se, you have to like already, like you have to grow into that position, yes or yes, right? There's no other option, right? And as you do that, there's going to be people coming into your life that are going to be at that level or higher, right? And then we can start relating to those people, and then we have to make choices, right? I have relationships that I had in college, that dear friends, but they're in a very different moment in their life that we don't relate, right? And I gotta be okay with that. At first, I had a lot of friction with that because I'm losing friendships, and I was seeing it that way. But I'm like, look, that friendship is gonna stay there, right? It doesn't matter. Like we're gonna be ready. Like if they want to hang out, we'll hang out. Like if we're gonna talk about what we love to talk about, we are going to talk about, create a container so that can happen. But at the same time, I'm gaining new relationships, right? Like for example, the people in the mastermind, we were in Montana a couple of weeks ago in our first like MC gig, right? Like that, when did that happen? And then we met 70 other incredible entrepreneurs that are doing incredible things and bringing incredible solutions into the world, right? That would have never happened if I would never accepted the fact that we need to also grow personally and accept that, right? So good things are ahead of us, right? And one of my biggest fears, and I think it's the first time I shared something like this, was that my wife, Katie, we will come apart because I was going in this direction, right? Growing, meeting people in this environment, and she is not entrepreneurial at all. She's a person that loves her job, that wants to keep that job forever and ever because it brings her peace of mind, it brings her stability. Like that's what she sees in value, and I totally respect that. But there was a time where I didn't see it that way, and I'm like, if you are not in the same mindset as I am right now, and we don't, we don't grow like that, there's different ways that we can grow together, but in the entrepreneurial mindset, and I was very scared that we were gonna grow apart. The second I had that conversation with her, she explained her point of view, and she's like, look, this is what I value. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna grow with you, and that I'm gonna understand. Maybe I don't understand fully how crazy you are to take this risk, right? Because to be an entrepreneur, you have to take risks, right? I don't fully understand it, but I support you. And that to me means the world to me. So the second I opened up and I shared that, then the other person, doors were open, and we were able to communicate and grow together, right? Not doing the same thing, but parallel, right? And it was super interesting. And that's what's going to happen with your family. That's what's going to happen with your friends. And guess what? The people that decide that, they might not resonate with what you do, it's okay. There's going to be other people that will resonate with what you do and are going to push you and they're going to pull you forward.
Yes, I love what you're saying, man, and I think it's so true. I think so many times we get stuck in that, and I went through the same thing actually, Luis, where people that I loved, close to, nothing wrong with them, but they just they had a different way of thinking, a different point of view, like you said. And this is one thing that I realize is if you really want to be that millionaire, own that $1 million business, you have to be in that proximity. You have to put yourself in that environment. Because if you're not putting yourself in that environment, you're never going to give yourself that chance. You got to give yourself that chance, because our income is within 20%, right? The 5 people we associate the most, our income is within their income around 20%. So think about that. So if you're hanging around with people that earn $50,000 a year, guess what? Nothing wrong with those people, but you're never going to be that millionaire because you're going to think like a $50,000 an hour person. You have to put yourself in the proximity of that. And I love what you're saying. So man, we're going full circle here. I'm loving this. So you had this conversation, and that lady, is that what pushed you to be, you know what, I'm going to leave that and let me go jump into content is for profit. So how did the full leap came? She told you this story.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, okay. So then how did that transition into being a full-blown entrepreneur and having your own business with your brother?
Yeah. So around that time, we were dabbling into entrepreneurship, right? We had our full-time jobs. My brother was offering recording and video services to different companies, corporate companies, our fitness studios. And we're like legit making the decision to go out full time and do this, right? So I was trying to figure, okay, how can I replace that income so I can do this full time and go there? And that conversation definitely planted a seed on the content side of things of us, but it took us probably 2 or 3 more years to actually go out and publish ourselves. So we developed a system. We started helping the studios with their own content production side of things. Managers, and this happens in the market in a lot of places, like solopreneurs or business owners or CEOs, right? They need, right now, every company needs to be a media company as well. They need to be creating their own pieces of content, whatever that looks like, right? Let's say, companies we talk about the publishing pyramid, right? A lot of the time. So at the top, we see the resources. We see like the outcome, what comes out, picture Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, all these people, right? That publish content 24/7. Under that, we got to understand that there's resources assigned to that outcome, right? Is there a team? Is it one-on-one? Is it like, what is it? Is it equipment? The resources assigned to that. For example, Gary Vee has a $30,000 a month content team just for TikTok platform. Just gonna put that out there, right? So it's like, okay, so we normally compare ourselves to that. Under the resources, we have capacity. What is that capacity of those resources, right? Is it, do I have time? Do I have money? We got to understand that. And at the bottom is our message, which most people, when they're starting, we're struggling with our message. We don't know what to say. I don't know what I stand for. I don't know what I stand against, right? I don't know what I sell sometimes is challenging. So trying to figure out the message is the hardest part. So at the time we were there, we were trying to figure out what was our message. We used to advertise ourselves as the anti-marketing agency. It was a great marketing hook because it got the attention of everybody. Like, oh my God, tell me more, right? Because most people are really frustrated with their marketing agencies. Why? We can go into that, but it's like, different expectations. There's so much, right? But that was a great way in to have the conversation. And then we ended up with 7 different services, right? And we started this thing and we're like creating progress and we got results XYZ, but then we hit a wall, right? We talk about growth. We hit that wall. We're like, man, now what? What was the wall? The wall was that we couldn't put systems in place because we were doing so much. And it was just me and my brother. And we're like, okay, to grow, we have to put systems so we can get our time back so we can actually do more stuff. So it was like this vicious circle because we couldn't create content. So a lot of the people that we help now are in that loop of like, okay, I create something. I don't have the system to do it, but I have to take care of my business, but I have to do this. Even CEOs, right? We help multi-million-dollar companies. The CEO, we had Greg, he's been incredible for like more than a year. He was investing 80 hours a month creating content as CMO of 80 people company. I think they're $500 million real estate company right now. It's crazy. 80 hours a month, right? Well, he created a system, 4 hours a month, and they triple their output, right? Like, what are their priorities? So those are the things that we got to understand. And we were not there understanding what the capacity was, what the resources were, and we're trying to figure this thing out. And then when we hit that wall, we made the decision. We talked about decisions earlier, right? We made the decision that we had to create this, and we just decided on going into one thing and one thing only, which is what we do now. And then everything started to move forward. We started understanding our own capacity. We started with Facebook Lives, and we launched the show. Then we're like, how can we expand the show? How can we create more relationships to feed the business within that system? And then our capacity grew, right? Our resources grew too. So we were able to hire a team, and then our capacity grew again. So more resources come in, and then this awesome circle started to happen. So that was what started in the journey of, that first wall that we hit, and was like, man, okay, how can we grow from this? And just by answering that question, great questions invite revelations, right? As one of our coaches said to us one time, and that's where we try to do. We keep asking those questions so we can get those revelations.
I love what you just said. I'm gonna just recap what he said. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what he's saying. It takes time. It takes systems. It takes a process. So many of us, we want to be at that next level of success, and you haven't even really fully reached on the level you're at right now. You're not even at capacity. Some of you are trying to do things that it's like, you got to be ready for certain things. You got to be ready for that next level. You can't, right? Think about what he said, right? He wanted to make $1 million selling stickers, but that wasn't the product. Maybe the product you're selling right now, if you're selling 10-cent stickers, guess what? It's going to take you forever to be a multimillionaire. But if you got these products that you can sell for $100, for $1,000, think about it, because that's what he's saying. And then once he got to the point, I love what you just said, Luis, because I think this is where most people struggle in business, is that it's a trust issue. They don't want to outsource, right? What you said is you hired people because it was time to outsource. You outgrew it because you were at full capacity. If you're a small business owner, if you're an entrepreneur watching this right now, even a business owner, it doesn't matter how big or how small, there comes a time where you got to work on the foundation. To build higher, you got to go wider sometimes to build up. So maybe you need another employee. Maybe you need to get that marketing agency. Maybe you need to hire the BizBros brothers. Maybe this is the time. You got to make that investment. But if you keep saying you never afford it, guess what? You're never going to afford it. It's time you start thinking like a businessman, a businesswoman, and you make that investment within yourself, because you can only have so much capacity to do something. And it's time to make that investment within yourself and bet on yourself. The beautiful thing is this: you're going to make it. You know how I know that? Because you're watching this podcast. You're listening to us right now on iTunes or whatever Spotify platform. You're going to make it, but you got to be willing to bet on yourself like Luis did. Luis, I want you to do me a favor right now. Look into the camera. Some entrepreneur, some small business owner right now is thinking about giving up. They're like, they're blaming others, right? They're playing the victim and they don't see it. But they really want to help people. Take a moment and speak, look in the camera and speak to that person, please.
So if you're in a moment where it's challenging, you might think that tomorrow you might have to close, that you might have to, if you have staff, that you might have to let them go. If you don't see a way out, slow down, pause for a second, take a deep breath, take another deep breath, create that space, right? Slow down a little bit. I'm that person that goes 1,000 miles per hour, and this has helped me many times. Look back and see what you've done, what you've built, the results that you gotten for yourself, for the people that you work with, for your customers. See how happy they are. Remember those calls where they shared those wins, where they shared that they had a massive breakthrough. Go back to that moment where you had that massive breakthrough, that you felt excited to what you were doing, that you felt excited, that you barely slept, and you woke up at 3 a.m. the next morning, ready to implement, ready to crush it. Those are the moments that are worth remembering. And then with that, you can use it to continue to move forward, because what you're doing, people need it. People need your solutions. People need your services. People need you. People need your energy so they can move forward and they can have a better life. They can have momentum in their business, right? They can use what you're providing to create the reality that they want, just like you are creating now. So your thoughts are going to guide your actions. So make sure whenever you feel overwhelmed, whenever you feel like frustrated, take a deep breath. Once, twice, 3 times. Think and remember those great moments, and then continue to move forward. The world is going to continue. The world is going to move, right? And the world needs you. It needs your solution. So keep working really hard. Keep making progress. Keep chipping away. Keep creating those relationships. Keep listening to this podcast, and then let us know how it goes.
Man, that was powerful right there. I was gonna play, like, I was gonna say, sometimes you just gotta put on a song like Eye of the Tiger, right? And you just gotta beat up the punching bag. You gotta go for a jog, maybe play some soccer, say I can, I will, I must succeed a day. There's nothing in this world that you can't do. You just listen to the BizBro brother right there, Luis. Man, he got you motivated, right? It's challenging. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Step back. Take a step back and listen to your heart. Look at the accomplishments that you've done. Write that down right now. What he's saying is reflect. Reflect on the successes that you have. And sometimes that's all you need. You're right, Luis. Sometimes you just need that one. It's amazing. You ever play golf, Luis?
Yeah, Top Golf. Does Top Golf count?
But I say that because I love, like, if we had a golf mentality, everybody would be successful. And this is what I mean. In golf, you can have the shittiest golf game ever, but you hit one good shot, one good drive, and all the rest of the day, you talk about that drive, you talk about that one shot, you talk about that one putt. I see it all the time. If we had that same mentality in life and business, man, it's amazing what the results we would get. Because life and business is totally opposite. We talk about everything that's wrong instead of talking about that one thing that's right. And if we were to focus on the one thing that's right, like that one long drive, I still remember it. My friend was like, I said, dude, I outdrove you when I was in Palm Springs. He goes, whatever, man. I'm like, I beat you. I don't care. I outdrove you.
Yeah, I mean, it's something similar. Just like I love that concept, because with soccer, it's very similar, right? Like you could have this forward that is being just like, is not having the best game, and then he scores. And then he gets voted player of the game, right? And maybe that was the goal that was the victory for the whole team, right? I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to use the golf analogy a little bit more too, because I like it. I have to experience it. I haven't experienced one of those good drives.
Yeah, you have to experience it. So let me ask you this. What keeps you consistent? What keeps you showing up every single day? Why do you show up, and with the energy? What keeps you moving every single day?
Man, that's a really good question, right? Especially in content. A lot of people, when they come to us, and us when we started, that this was the thing. How can we stay consistent, right? We don't see the results right away. We see a little 0 in the corner. We see the number 1 and then 0 again in the corner when you go live, right? What happens? Who am I talking to? And then we started seeing some responses. So then we started being a little bit more direct. We started connecting with people. And over the last year or so that we've been doing this, it's purely relationships, right? I'm gonna give you a few examples. Is the people that we connect through these contents. We do a lot of interviews. Like our show is mainly interviews. And at first, for us, because of the way that we do business on the service side of things, relationship is number one, whether that's a strategic partner, whether that's a client, whether that's a referral, right? Whether that's a great conversation. At the end of the day, I remember we wrote a headline last year with like how to get hundreds of thousands of dollars of advice for free. And it's like, you create your own show. I mean, we've had incredible people like you, Daniel, right? That's a great example. Like a bunch of our coaches, like Todd Brown, that, you know, he's a great marketer and that in our world, like Steve Sims, that's also a person that has hang out with Elon Musk and you know, it's crazy the power of the platform where you can have these conversations one-on-one for an hour, 2 hours with another human being that you might be aiming to be next. Like going full circle of what we're talking earlier, right? You need to get closer to these people. What a better way? So for us, this medium of podcasting, video shows is our way to fulfill first our soul. And then after that, we were like, this might also be an opportunity to grow our business, right? And we talk a lot about the power, the two sides of the platform, right? The platform, it could be your show. And we've seen examples. We work with people that do just Facebook Live. We do a live plus a bunch of other stuff, right? But then it could be an Instagram Live, right? It could be a phone call. It doesn't really matter what it is, your platform. What is it? Where do you create, right? And then on one side, you're going to have your relationship. If you don't have, we go back to the resources and the capacity, right?
Yes.
If we don't have the resources to put money behind that content, right? That will help on the audience level, right? What's the fastest way to cash? The relationship, right? We're talking in business side of things, but at the end of the day, if you reframe cash to knowledge, what's the fastest way? The relationship, right? That person, you have it right there as somebody that has 20 years of experience in the industry that you want to be in. Why don't you ask the questions that you want to find out the answers to? You have them right there, right? So that to us is number one. And then the audience is a collateral of consistency. So how do we keep it consistent? We focus on that relationship. We focus on developing those friendships. And guess what? Here's a few examples of what that has done for us. We closed a bunch of clients. We were able to hire people. That's at first, that's what we saw. Then we started creating friendships with entrepreneurs that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, older than what we've, you know, I'm 31 now. So it's like, what? They've been in this for so many years. We've been invited to speak live in multiple events. We've been invited to MC for the first time ever, right? We've been invited to do keynotes. We've been like, it's been insane. We've been introduced to incredible people like you, Daniel, right? For example, we've been part of masterminds. We've been able to travel. We've been able to grow the business. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't we do it? So when Fonzi's away, like the energy, right? Obviously I get to carry the energy for both of us, right? But at the end of the day, it's great because we get to do this, right? He gets to do this from over there. It doesn't matter. We said, if everything goes wrong, the last thing that it goes is the show. Like worst case scenario, the last thing that goes is the show, because that's a vehicle, that's a platform that we could potentially leverage to create those relationships that can identify with us and who we are. Nobody has said anything about the soccer jerseys. Nobody has said anything about the helmets that we have over there. Nobody says anything about the Legos. Like we can be ourselves, and it's a great filter to find your people, right? You don't have to have all that, right? You will have your own things, right? And people will relate to that. And I think that's pretty powerful. So that's what keeps us going.
Boom, baby. Woo, I got to give you a... Oh, that was I was on the wrong cue. See, I got so excited. Man, I'll tell you what, I love this interview. What is a quote or a scripture that you rely on times of adversity, Luis? What is something that you go back to that you tell yourself, whether it's a quote or a scripture, what do you dig your heels into your feet to?
Man, I don't know if I have one.
Give us what you got, man. We're grateful. If you got more than one, let's go.
I think one of the things that I do consistently is remind myself of the things. So, I've taken on this daily practice of going through what I'm grateful for. So that's number one. I'm grateful for, and then I start writing everything that comes to mind. So that to me, it's great, because sometimes we're in this situation where we think everything is shitty and everything is not the way that we want to be, right? For example, I'm very lucky. I worked really hard as well to be able to live in a 4-bedroom house where I have my studio, where I have my kid, where I have a dog, where we have, my car, my wife's car, we have a gated community. Like it's perfect, right? And I'm like, and then one day I'll come home and I'm like, man, I wish this and I wish that. And then I slow down, I take a breath, and I'm like, what am I talking about? Like, I come from a country where we couldn't get out past 9 p.m. because somebody will kidnap you. By the way, I've been kidnapped. I know what that's like. So I look back and I see what I'm grateful for, and I write things down, little things, right? Like, I had my favorite cereal this morning. This was delicious, right? Like the little things, right? Luca went to bed without crying, right? Luca, these little things.
What's your favorite cereal?
Oh man, Cheerios, honey Cheerios.
Honey nut
if you want to send me boxes of honey nut Cheerios, it's great. But I'm trying to find here, like, give away what you want to get. That's one. On the content side of things, right? Like we remind ourselves, like, okay, we got to provide a lot of things. When we're starting up, we're like hugging, like just grabbing all the information for ourselves, and we're really scared to share it. We're very scared to share all the information, because like, oh man, somebody else is gonna grab it, somebody else is gonna give it, and we struggled with that so much. The second we started helping everybody, we started jumping on calls, asking questions to our customers, to the people that we serve. Hey, how can we help? We're going through that process right now. You and I, we talked about this like 2 weeks ago. We're going through these calls, and on those calls, we're finding out so much information, and we're giving our point of view. We're literally putting everything out there. We're like, this is the exact roadmap that we put out there, that we started doing to create this momentum. What do you think? And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just told me that, right? I'm like, why not? And then it comes back tenfold. So I have that Post-it note in there, because that's one of my beliefs that I'm fighting through, that I have to keep talking and keep doing and keep executing. I keep giving to make sure that we get tenfold of what we're giving. And it's served us over the last 2 years very, very well.
Awesome, man. How do we get a hold of you? Somebody wants to work with you and your brother. How do we get a hold of the BizBros, brother? What's your website?
Yeah, absolutely. So website, you can go to bizbros.co. That's without an M. That's on purpose. bizbros.co. There's information in there. You can also find us on social media: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, literally everywhere at bizbrosco. And then if you want to send me a quick email, luisda@bizbros.co. That's LUISDA @bizbros.co. I'm the one answering the emails. I respond faster on Instagram and social media. So just a heads up.
Woo! What a show. What a show. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have that in the content as far as in the show notes here. So, man, thank you for being out here with us today. That's a wrap for this week's episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. If you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, call me. Go to DanielGomezGlobal.com. That's DanielGomezGlobal.com. With our Shield of Faith coaching, we've helped hundreds of people. We've made people thousands and even millions of dollars with corporations. One was losing $1 million in the red within a year and a month. They were making $1 million in the black. That's a $2 million swing. We can do that for your business. I know the systems, I know the strategies, and most of all, I know the people how to do it. If I can do it for somebody else, if I can train the United States Air Force, I can definitely add value to you. Daniel Gomez at DanielGomezGlobal.com. Go to our website, Shield of Faith Coaching. Send us a message, do our free entrepreneurial assessment there, and we want to add value to you. So don't be, right? One thing that I've learned in life is when pride gets in the way, there's no help, but ask for help. I'm here to help you. We'll see you next week with another amazing guest. Thank you again. Luis BizBro here. Woo! We love you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week here on the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.